established called Rock's Diamond Year, and it's celebrating 60 years since the start of the Ealing Club in Ealing, and we're going to tell you why that was important. But the book also covers all the clubs and venues around this area, which were the engine rooms for the musical revolution of the 1960s. This is a very fitting venue to be doing this, because two of the movers and shakers from the 60s revolution actually went to college here and were teenagers who studied here, namely Pete Townsend and Ronnie Wood at the old Ealing College of Art. And so tonight I have two of the contributors to the book, both of whom are musicians and both of whom have worked tirelessly to promote music in the local area. So I'll let them introduce themselves. Who'd like to go first, Bob?
Okay, I'm Robert Hokum, born on this manor. I was actually born in Perivale Maternity Hospital, as was Kate Middleton's mum. That's kind of fame. Lived in Hanwell in my early years, attended Oakland's primary school, where a kid in a year below me, a guy called John Collinson, would move to Canvey Island and rename himself Lee Brillo and formed Dr. Feelgood, who were the band that spearheaded the second blues wave in this country and had a #1 album with their live album. Then I ended up at the nightmare that was Ealing Grammar School on the Green, but Lee said about that better. Always been a musician, always played in bands, it's all I ever wanted to do, and in 1987, having been turned down for the then 2-year-old Ealing Jazz Festival, despite the fact I can play jazz, although I don't care to admit it that much. In a fit of pique, I just went, all right, I'll run my own event. And that was the start of the Ealing Blues Festival, 1987, which is now the longest running blues festival, I think, in Britain. I think we've outdone everybody. 2011, at an arts meeting at Town Hall, a guy called Alistair Young came over to me and said, well, what are we going to do about Ealing's musical heritage and the fact that the Rolling Stones and the Who came out of here? And I said, well, I know all this, and he said, well, let's do something about it. And that was it. Within 2 years, we had plaque up outside the Ealing Club, helped the Hanwell Who's to put the Marshall plaque up, and then film, book. Thanks to Cheryl. I'll shut up now.
Ralph. I'm sure you have more.
Yeah.
So my name's Ralph Brookfield. I am very privileged as an amateur musician and as someone who started off when I left college as a writer and then became a technologist and then retired from technology and became a writer again, that Cheryl asked me to write the introduction to this book. Torrin exaggerates. The editorial, I think, was almost entirely down to Cheryl. I did encourage at least one of the contributors to write a piece, and I think it's an absolutely amazing piece, and I'm very glad it's in the book. And I very much enjoyed writing the introduction to this book because I really firmly believe that what happened in the Ealing Club in 1962, the early months of 1962, and particularly March the 17th, 1962, was an event that we can justifiably celebrate as the rock on which modern music was built. And you can say that's an exaggeration, but I do think this was a really pivotal event in the history of music.
Yeah.
Hello.